How did one harmless joke turn into separation papers being handed to me in a busy office lobby with coworkers watching? Why did my husband look calm, like this was planned for weeks, while I stood there trying to laugh and couldn't? My name is Zenobia Pierce-Larkin, and people call me Z when they want me to smile. I was 34 then. I worked as a marketing coordinator at a small company, the kind with bright posters on the walls and cheap coffee that tasted like paper. I liked my job because it made me look busy. Busy meant important. Important meant nobody could question me. My husband, Ethan Larkin, was 36. He worked in insurance claims. He liked rules. He liked quiet. He liked clean lines in a calendar. I used to say he was stable. Later, I started saying he was boring, and I said it like a joke, as if jokes could make it harmless. That Saturday, we went to a backyard BBQ at a friend's place. The yard was full of folding chairs and kids running in circles. Someone played loud music from a speaker. The air smelled like grilled meat and sweet soda. People laughed too hard, the way they do when they want to look happy. Ethan's friend Brent was there. Brent was 35, tall, and always acting like the room belonged to him. He was the type who touched people when he talked, like everyone was already his friend. Ethan and Brent had known each other since college. Ethan said Brent was a lot, but still invited him to things. I told myself that meant Ethan trusted him. When we arrived, Cassidy waved at me from the patio. Cassidy was my best friend, also 34, always ready with her phone. My sister Janelle was there too, leaning on the fence with a drink and a bored face. My mother Tara had come because she said she wanted to support family time. That really meant she wanted to watch and later tell stories. Brent came over fast. He asked how I was and said I looked great. I said I was fine, and I laughed. He stepped close, too close, and I did not move back. I told myself I was just being polite. I told myself Ethan did not own my space. Cassidy said we needed a group photo. She held up her phone and called everyone over. Brent slid next to me like it was planned. His arm went behind my back, then lower, until his hand rested at my waist. I felt it. I let it stay. I smiled like it was normal. Ethan looked at Brent's hand, then at me. His face went tight. He asked if we could talk for a second. I said we could talk later because it was rude to walk away right now. I said it like I was being reasonable. We took the photo. Then Cassidy said we should do another one. A funny one. Brent leaned in and made a joke about me being his date. People laughed. I laughed too. I liked the laughter. It made me feel like the center of the day. It made me feel chosen. Ethan asked Brent to give me space. He said it calmly, but I heard the edge in his voice. Brent lifted his hands like he was innocent and said it was just a joke. I nodded and said it was just a joke too. I looked at Ethan like he was the problem for not laughing. My mother watched this and smiled in a way that made my stomach warm. Later, she told me I was not the type to be controlled. My sister Janelle smirked and said Ethan always acted like I was too much. Cassidy started filming, like the moment was content. Ethan asked me again, in a lower voice, why I let it happen. I told him he was reading into it. I said he always made things dark. I said he should stop trying to ruin the mood. I saw him swallow and look away, and I felt a small win. I hate that I felt it, but I did. I walked back to the picnic table and acted normal. I made sure people saw me smiling. I made sure nobody saw me thinking. Brent offered me a drink, and I took it. Ethan stood near the grill and talked to Glenn, his dad, about something boring. I told myself Ethan was sulking, like a child. Later, when the kids started chasing bubbles, Ethan came near me again. He asked why I needed to push him in front of people. I said I was not pushing him. I said he was pushing me by acting jealous. I said he was making me look bad. I kept my voice soft so I sounded calm. I learned that trick a long time ago. He asked why Brent's hand stayed on my waist for so long. I said it was 1 second. I said Ethan was counting seconds like a guard. I said it must be tiring to live like that. I watched his face, and I could tell the words hit him. That is the problem with me. I aim for the bruise. When it got darker, Ethan said we should go home. I said we could stay a bit longer because everyone was having fun. I said the kids were fine. I said he was being strict. I made it sound like he did not like joy. Brent heard and laughed, then said Ethan needed to loosen up. People nodded, like that was wise. On the drive home, Ethan was quiet. The streetlight slid over the windshield. The kids fell asleep in the back. I waited for him to speak first because I wanted to control the story. Ethan finally asked why I let Brent talk to him like that. I said he was being sensitive. I said Brent was joking. I said Ethan embarrassed himself by making it a big deal. He asked if I cared how it looked. I said it looked like a fun party until he made it awkward. He asked if I wanted attention from other men. I said he was accusing me. I said he was acting insecure. I said he should ask himself why he felt threatened by a joke. I remember the way his hands tightened on the steering wheel, then relaxed. He did not shout. That almost made me angrier, because shouting would have proven my point. At home, the house smelled like laundry soap and leftover food. Ethan carried Noah to bed without a word. I put Mia's shoes away and told myself I was being the bigger person. In my mind, I was always the bigger person. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. In the kitchen, Ethan poured water and drank it standing up. He did not sit with me. He asked if I could stop making him a joke for my friends. I said I was not making him a joke. I said he was doing that by acting tense. I said if he learned to relax, people would respect him more. I said respect follows results, and I had results. I still think that sentence made sense. He looked at me like I was a stranger. Then he picked up his phone and walked toward the hallway. I followed with my eyes. I saw his screen light up for a second. A calendar alert showed up. It said, "Meeting, personal." There was a time under it. He tilted the screen away fast. I asked what that was. He said it was nothing. He said he had things to handle. His voice was flat, like a door closing slowly. Then he went into the spare room and shut it. I stood in the kitchen and listened to the quiet. The fridge hummed. My phone buzzed with Cassidy's message about the photos. I stared at Ethan's mug on the counter, then mine beside it. 2 mugs, close together, like they still belonged to the same life. I told myself Ethan was being dramatic. I told myself he was trying to punish me with silence. I told myself I was the one who deserved comfort. Then I opened the group photo Cassidy sent, and I saw Brent's hand at my waist again, clear as day. Ethan's face was in the background, tight and pale, like he had been turned into a prop. The next week I acted like everything was normal, but I watched Ethan more than I wanted to admit. He moved through the house like he was careful not to touch anything that could burn him. He still made breakfast for the kids. He still packed Mia's lunch with the little note she liked. He still buckled Noah into his car seat with the same steady hands. If a stranger saw us, they would think we were fine. I did not want fine. I wanted him to admit he was wrong. I wanted him to chase me a little, so I could feel important again. Cassidy sent me the BBQ photos in a group chat with my sister and 2 other friends. She said the pictures were gold and that my face looked main character. I replied fast and said we had fun. Janelle replied with laughing emojis and said Ethan looked like he was watching a funeral. I should have shut it down. Instead, I added my own joke. I wrote that Ethan always took life too seriously. I told myself I was keeping it light. That Friday, Cassidy invited us to a rooftop bar downtown. She said we needed a reset. She said Ethan needed to see we were not trying to hurt him. That was not true, not fully. A part of me wanted him to feel small in a room full of people. I hated that part, but I listened to it anyway. Ethan said he did not feel like going. He said he was tired. I said he was always tired when it came to my friends. I said he showed up for work and strangers, but not for me. He asked why everything had to be a test. I said it was not a test. I said it was a normal night out. We went. The rooftop was loud and bright. The city lights looked like glitter. People leaned close to hear each other. Music came from speakers above the bar, and the bass made my ribs shake. Cassidy was already there, filming short clips of drinks and faces. She hugged me and told me I looked amazing. She barely looked at Ethan before turning back to her phone. Brent showed up late, like he always did, with a grin that made it seem like he owned the sky. He clapped Ethan's shoulder and said he missed him. Then he looked at me and said I was the best part of the group. I laughed. I felt warm. I told myself it was harmless. Ethan asked if Brent could stop talking like that. He did not raise his voice. He said it like a simple request. Brent said he was only being friendly. Cassidy laughed and said Ethan was so protective. My sister said Ethan was acting like a dad at prom. People around us smiled like they were watching a cute scene. I could have stepped in. I could have said that was enough. Instead, I smiled wider and said Ethan always misunderstood jokes. I said he heard disrespect when there was none. Ethan looked at me and asked if I really believed that. I said I did. I said he should try being fun for once. Brent leaned in close when Cassidy asked for another group photo. He put his arm around me again. This time his hand stayed a little lower. I felt Ethan notice. I pretended not to. I turned my head toward the camera and lifted my chin. After the photo, Ethan asked me to come with him to the side for a minute. I followed, but I did it slowly so everyone could see he was pulling me away. He asked why I kept letting Brent touch me. I said Brent was a friend and that friends touch sometimes. He said there was a difference between a quick hug and a hand that stayed. I said Ethan was counting again. I said he was obsessed. I said he made me feel watched in my own life. He asked if I wanted him to leave. I said he was free to do whatever he wanted. I said I would not beg. I watched his face, waiting for anger. Instead, he went quiet. He said he did not want to fight here. He said he wanted respect. I said respect was not something he could demand. I said it was something people gave when they felt like it. I still remember how his eyes changed. It was not dramatic. It was more like a light switching off in a room you didn't realize you were using. Back at the table, Cassidy started telling a story about a controlling husband she knew. She never said Ethan's name, but she kept looking at him. I joined in. I said some men use jealousy as a way to keep women small. I said I refused to be small. Ethan asked if I was talking about him. I said if the shoe fit, that was not my fault. I said he was making it about himself again. Brent raised his glass and said he wanted to toast strong women who don't apologize. People cheered. I lifted my drink like I had won something. Ethan did not lift his. He stared at the table for a second, then looked out at the city. The wind moved his hair. He looked tired in a deep way, like sleep would not fix it. When we finally left, Ethan walked a few steps ahead of me. In the elevator, he asked why I kept doing this. I said he was choosing to be hurt. I said he could decide to laugh. He asked if I cared how it looked for our kids someday. I said the kids were fine. I said he was being dramatic again. He did not answer. The next morning at work, I came in early. I liked being the first at my desk. It made me feel like a person with direction. I opened my email and started sorting tasks, but my mind kept jumping back to the rooftop. I checked my phone and saw Cassidy had posted a short video from the night. It was a clip of Brent leaning close to me while I laughed, with Ethan in the background not smiling. She added text on top that said something like, "When your friend's husband can't take a joke." I felt a quick thrill, then a quick fear. I told myself it was fine because it was true, in a way. Ethan really couldn't take a joke. That was the story I wanted. Around mid-morning, a coworker named Caleb stopped near my desk. He worked with an outside vendor team and came in sometimes for meetings. He was 33, neat hair, calm voice, the kind of person who looked like he listened. He asked if I was okay because I seemed distracted. I said I was fine, just dealing with stress at home. He said he understood, and he asked if I wanted coffee. We went to the break area and stood by the machine. He asked what kind of stress. I said my husband had been acting jealous and cold. I said he tried to control what I posted and who I talked to. I left out what I did to provoke him. I did it smoothly, like I was editing a video. Caleb said that sounded unfair. He said partners should support each other. He said trust was basic. I nodded and said that was what I wanted too. I could feel myself leaning into his attention. It felt like someone opening a window in a room I had been trapped in. When I got home that night, Ethan was in the living room helping Mia with homework. Noah was stacking blocks on the rug. Ethan looked up and asked how my day was. His voice was polite, almost like we were co-workers. I said it was busy. He asked if we could talk after the kids went to bed. I said we could, but I added that I was tired of being accused. He said he was not accusing me. He said he was asking for boundaries. I said boundaries were just control with a nicer word. Later, when the kids were asleep, I walked into the kitchen and saw Ethan at the counter with his laptop open. A spreadsheet was on the screen. I could not see the title. He clicked to another window fast. He said he was handling bills. He had a folder beside him with tabs sticking out. I saw utilities and bank written in neat pen. He slid it into a drawer and closed it like it was normal. I asked why he was suddenly so organized. He said he should have been organized earlier. I laughed a little and said he was acting like I was leaving him. He looked at me and said he was acting like an adult. Then he rinsed his mug and set it on the far side of the counter, away from mine, like he was drawing another line without saying it. By Monday, the rooftop clips were still floating around. Cassidy kept tagging me. My sister kept commenting like our marriage was a show. I told myself it was harmless because nobody could prove anything. I told myself Ethan was overreacting. I also told myself I deserved to feel wanted, because at home I felt like a co-worker who shared a bed schedule, not a wife. Ethan did not yell. That made it worse. He spoke in short lines. He asked how the kids slept. I answered. He asked what time I would be home. I said normal time. He asked if we could eat together. I said maybe. His calm felt like a wall. I started pushing it with little comments, just to see if it moved. One evening, I said he had been cold lately. He asked what I wanted him to do. I said I wanted him to stop acting jealous. He said he wanted me to stop inviting disrespect. I laughed and said he was dramatic. He did not laugh back. He rinsed his mug and left it on the far side again, like last night. I watched it and felt annoyed, like a silent act was an insult. On Wednesday, I went to the gym after work. I told Ethan it was for stress. He asked why I needed the gym now. I said I needed space because he was tense at home. He said he was not stopping me. He said he only wanted honesty. I heard the word honesty like an accusation, so I answered like one. I said he was interrogating me. He said he was asking. I grabbed my keys harder than I needed to. The gym lobby smelled like rubber mats and cheap perfume. A TV played sports with no sound. I checked in and pretended to focus. Then I saw Caleb near the water machine, like it was normal for him to be there. He smiled and said he was trying a new place close to work. He asked how I was doing since the other day. I said I was tired, and I made my face look brave, like I was surviving something. He asked if my husband was still being hard on me. I said yes. I said Ethan acted like I had no right to be social. I said he wanted to control how I dressed and what I posted. Caleb frowned and said that sounded unfair. He said a good partner should trust. I nodded like he was giving me a truth I had been missing. Caleb asked if I wanted to grab a smoothie after my workout. I said maybe. I told myself I was only being friendly. I told myself Ethan pushed me into needing kindness elsewhere. That was the story I kept polishing. Later, I met Caleb at a co-working cafe on my lunch break. I told Ethan I had a meeting with a vendor. Ethan asked which vendor. I said it was work stuff and he would not understand. I said that was not an insult, just a fact. He went quiet, and I took the quiet as permission. The cafe was bright and full of laptop screens. People spoke in soft voices like they were afraid to interrupt success. Caleb had already ordered for us. He said he guessed what I liked. I smiled and said he was thoughtful. He asked what my husband did for fun. I said Ethan did not really do fun. I said he judged people. I said he kept score. Caleb said some men use rules to hide fear. He said some men wanted women to shrink so they could feel big. I should have challenged that. Instead, I felt relief. It felt good to have someone agree with me without asking for details. I leaned into it like a warm blanket. He asked if I was happy. I said I did not know. I said I used to be, but now I felt alone in my own house. He said I deserved to feel seen. I told him he was sweet. My phone buzzed with a message from Ethan asking if I could pick up milk. I did not answer right away. I wanted to show myself I had choices. Caleb asked if Ethan ever apologized. I said Ethan acted like apologies were weakness. That was not even true. Ethan apologized plenty, just not for things I wanted. Still, I said it with confidence, like confidence made it real. When the lunch ended, Caleb walked me to my car. He asked if I wanted to talk again soon. I said maybe. He said he liked how strong I was. I said I had to be strong because nobody else would do it for me. As I drove away, my chest felt light. I also felt a sharp fear, but I pushed it down. Fear did not match the image I liked. That night, I came home later than usual. I told Ethan traffic was bad. He asked what route I took. I said he was being weird. He said he was just asking. I said he asked too many questions lately. He looked at me for a moment like he was deciding something. Then he nodded once and walked away. On Friday, I stopped at the supermarket after work. I did it on purpose. I told myself I was being helpful. I also wanted to prove I had nothing to hide. I walked through the aisles and bought milk, cereal, and fruit for the kids. I checked my phone while waiting in line. Caleb had sent a message. It was not explicit, but it was warm. It said he was thinking about me and hoped my night was better. I smiled at the screen before I could stop myself. Then I heard Noah's small voice behind me. He said my name. I turned and saw Ethan with both kids in the cart area, like he had come straight from pickup. Ethan's eyes went to my phone. I felt heat crawl up my neck. Ethan asked if I was okay. I said yes. He asked who I was texting. I said Cassidy. I said she was planning something. Ethan looked at the screen again and did not argue with my lie. He just nodded slowly. At the checkout, the cashier scanned items and the machine beeped in a steady rhythm. Ethan stood a little behind me, not close like a couple, but not far like strangers. Mia held the cart handle and watched us. Her face was quiet. She did not ask questions. That scared me more than questions. When the receipt printed, Ethan took it without asking. He looked at the time on it for a long second. He folded it neatly and put it in his wallet. He did it like a habit, like a person saving proof that something happened. I told myself he always saved receipts. I told myself it meant nothing, but my stomach tightened anyway. In the car, Ethan asked if I wanted him to make dinner. I said I could handle it. He asked if I was sure. I said yes, and I said it with a sharp tone so he would stop asking. He did not push. He just turned the radio on low, like sound was safer than words. That night, after the kids went to bed, I scrolled through my phone in the living room. Ethan was in the spare room again. The door was almost shut. I heard a soft beep, like a recording app starting, then stopping. I froze for a second. Then I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself I was the victim of his suspicion, not the cause. A little later, I walked down the hallway to get a towel from the closet. As I passed the spare room, I smelled something like warm dust and toner. Then I heard it. A low, steady grind, a shredder. It stopped, then started again. I stood there with the towel in my hands, listening, and I felt anger rise. I told myself Ethan was doing this to scare me. I told myself he was building a case to control me. I did not consider that I had handed him the pieces. When I went back to the living room, my phone buzzed again. Caleb sent another message. I stared at it, then at the dark hallway, and I felt like I was living two lives at once. I told myself I could manage it. I told myself Ethan would calm down if I just stayed confident. I told myself that being wanted was not a crime. The next week felt like a slow test that nobody admitted was happening. Ethan did not chase me. He did not yell. He did not slam doors. He did not even throw sharp words back at me. He just moved with a quiet plan, and that made me feel like I was losing the shape of my own home. On Tuesday afternoon, I went to the school pickup line early. I liked being seen there. The other parents smiled and made small talk. I could play the role of the steady mom, even when my stomach was tight. I told myself image mattered because image was safety. Mia came out with her backpack bouncing. She climbed into the car and asked why Dad had slept in the other room again. She asked it in a calm voice, like she was asking why the sky was grey. I said Dad was being dramatic and needed space. I said grown-ups did that sometimes. Mia looked at me and asked if it was her fault. I told her no and forced a laugh like the question was silly. Inside, something twisted. I pushed it down fast. As we waited for Noah's daycare pickup time, I leaned out the window and talked to another mom named Renee. Renee asked if Ethan was coming to the school fundraiser. I said I didn't know because Ethan had been moody. I said he acted like I embarrassed him all the time. I said it like I was tired, like I was the patient one. Renee frowned and said that sounded hard. I nodded and let her sympathy land. That is what I did now. I collected small sympathy from people like coins. When Noah climbed into the car, he asked if Dad was mad. I said Dad was not mad, just stressed. Noah said he missed Dad at bedtime. I said Dad was busy. I told myself I was protecting them from the truth, but I was also protecting my story. On Wednesday, I took the kids to the playground after work. The sky was pale, and the air smelled like wet leaves. Mia went to the swings. Noah ran to the slide and shouted for me to watch. I watched, but my phone kept buzzing in my pocket. Ethan texted and asked what time I would be home with the kids. I replied and said soon. He texted back and said he would start dinner at 6. That would have been normal before, but the tone felt different now. It felt like a schedule, not a partnership. While Noah climbed the ladder, I saw Patricia, my mother-in-law, walking toward us. She moved with her usual straight back and serious face. She waved at the kids first, then looked at me. She asked how the children were doing. I said they were fine. She asked where Ethan was. I said he had work. Patricia said Ethan told her he was keeping things calm for the kids. She said she respected that. I heard the judgment behind her words, even though she did not raise her voice. I said Ethan was overreacting to a joke. I said he was making the house tense. Patricia asked what joke I meant. I explained it in my careful way. I said Brent was only being friendly, and Ethan was acting jealous. Patricia's mouth tightened. She said friendly was not the same as familiar. She said a married woman should protect her marriage in public, not test it. I felt heat rise in my face. I told her she was old-fashioned. I told her Ethan learned his control from her. I said it like a fact so it would sting. Patricia did not snap back. She asked if I understood what kids learn from watching. She pointed at Mia, who was swinging and watching us at the same time. I looked at Mia's face and felt annoyed that she was paying attention. I told myself kids should mind their own business, even though they can't. Patricia said she had offered Ethan help with routines. She said she could pick the kids up sometimes if needed. I heard the line she did not say, if needed because of me. I said Ethan was turning everyone against me. Patricia said nobody needed Ethan to do that. Then she kissed Mia's head, patted Noah's shoulder, and walked away. I sat on the bench and pretended the bench was too cold, like that was why I was tense. That evening, we met my family and Ethan's family at a restaurant with a long table. It was one of those loud family places with warm lights and too many plates. My mother Tara arrived first, wearing a bright scarf and a sharp smile. My sister Janelle arrived next, already ready to perform. Ethan's father Glenn came with Patricia. Ethan arrived last with the kids, calm as a person entering a meeting. We sat down. The kids got crayons and a paper menu. Mia colored quietly. Noah tried to fold his napkin into shapes. I watched Ethan's hands as he helped Noah, and I hated that he looked like the better parent in public. Tara asked Ethan if he was done sulking. Ethan said he was not sulking. He said he wanted peace and clear boundaries. Tara said boundaries were just another word for control. I agreed fast. I said Ethan had been cold and suspicious. I said he acted like I was guilty when I had done nothing. I said he made me feel unsafe with his questions. I used that word on purpose because it sounded serious. Ethan asked what I meant by unsafe. I said he watched my phone and tracked my time. He said he did not track me. He said he only asked direct questions when things did not add up. Janelle laughed and said Ethan sounded like a dad giving a lecture. Cassidy was not there, but her spirit was. Everyone knew how she would react. Glenn cleared his throat and said the kids were right there. He asked that we keep voices low. I said I was calm. I said Ethan was the one creating drama. Ethan looked at the kids and nodded. He asked Mia if she wanted more water. Mia said yes. His voice stayed even. I decided to steer the table back to where I felt strong. Public stories. I raised my glass and said I wanted to toast strong women who refused to be controlled. I said it lightly, but I aimed it at Ethan like a dart. My mother smiled wide. Janelle lifted her glass too. A few cousins and friends at the far end joined without knowing why. Ethan did not lift his glass. He asked me why I kept making private issues public. I said it was not private if it affected my life. I said he was trying to silence me. He said he was trying to protect the kids from adult fights. Tara said he was using the kids as a shield. Ethan said he would not discuss our marriage in front of them anymore. He said if we needed to talk, we could do it later and calmly. I pushed back. I asked why he acted like a judge. He said he was not judging. He said he was choosing a lawful, respectful way to handle conflict. That word, lawful, hit me like a warning bell, but I pretended it didn't. After dinner, in the parking lot, Ethan walked the kids to the car first. I stayed behind with my mother and sister, letting them see me as the wronged woman. Tara said Ethan was trying to scare me with seriousness. Janelle said I should live my life and stop apologizing. I nodded and felt brave for a moment. When I reached the car, Ethan asked if I could stick to the normal bedtime routine tonight. He said the kids needed predictability. I said he was acting like I couldn't handle my own kids. He said he was not saying that. He said he was saying routines mattered. I said he was turning parenting into a weapon. He didn't answer. He buckled Noah in, then waited for me to buckle Mia, like he was documenting roles without speaking. At home, I went to the kitchen to grab a snack and saw something small on the counter. A sticky note, neat handwriting. It said, "Bring forms." I stared at it longer than I wanted to. Then I noticed Ethan's keyring on the hook. There was a new key on it, shiny and unused. I asked what the new key was for. Ethan said it was for something practical. He said we would talk later, not now. He said the kids were listening even when they looked busy. Then he walked away, and I stood there with the sticky note in my hand, trying to tell myself it meant nothing. The community hall smelled like coffee, dust, and those cheap lemon cookies people brought to seem kind. There were folding chairs in rows, and a little stage with a microphone nobody used well. It was a winter social for families from the neighborhood and school circles. People came because they liked being seen as supportive. I came because I wanted a room full of eyes. Ethan did not want to go. He said the kids were tired, and it was too loud for Noah. I said he was making excuses again. I said the kids would be fine. I said he was trying to isolate me from everyone. He asked why every event had to turn into a fight. I said it wasn't a fight if he didn't make it one. We arrived and the noise hit us right away. Music played low in the background. Kids ran between legs. Parents smiled too hard. Cassidy waved from the far side of the room with her phone already up. My sister Janelle was there too, laughing with two women from the pickup line. My mother Tara sat near the front like she owned the place. Brent was there, of course. He stood near the snack table like he was hosting, even though it wasn't his event. He saw me and grinned. He asked if I missed him. I said he was ridiculous, but I smiled while I said it. Ethan's jaw tightened. I noticed and felt that ugly thrill again. I told myself I was not doing anything wrong. I told myself I was only refusing to be managed. I told myself Ethan's jealousy was the real problem. That was the story I carried in my pocket like a key. At first, we moved like a normal family. Ethan held Noah's hand. Mia stayed close to Ethan's side. I walked ahead with a confidence I did not feel. People greeted us. Some looked at Ethan like he was fragile. Some looked at me like I was brave. I liked the brave look. Cassidy came over and asked for a quick video. She said it was just for memories. She pointed the phone at me and said I should say something funny. I said we were here to celebrate community and strong women. I said it with a smile that made it sound like a joke, but it was also a jab. Ethan heard it. I saw his eyes flick to the phone, then away. Brent slid into the frame without being invited. He said he was happy I came and that I always made boring events better. He leaned close enough that I could feel his shoulder against mine. Cassidy laughed and kept filming. Janelle laughed too. My mother nodded like she approved. Ethan asked Brent to step back. He said it calmly. Brent acted offended and said he was only being friendly. I said Ethan was doing it again. Ethan asked what it was. I said he was policing harmless moments. I said he had to stop treating me like property. I said it loud enough that people near us could hear. I wanted the room on my side. Ethan looked around at the faces. He did not argue. He asked if we could talk in the hallway. I followed him, but I made sure it looked like he was dragging me away from fun. In the hallway, the sound was softer. The walls were covered with old posters about safety and kindness. Ethan asked why I kept letting Brent get too familiar. He asked why I kept turning it into a show. I said I wasn't turning anything into a show. I said he was the one making it weird by noticing. He asked if I thought it was respectful. I said respect was not the same as control. He asked if I still cared about our marriage. I said of course I did, and I acted hurt that he even asked. He asked why I was home late so often lately. I said traffic and errands. He asked why my stories changed. I said he was keeping notes like an investigator. He said he was keeping reality straight. That sentence came back again, and it made my skin prickle. I decided to go sharper. I told him he had not been affectionate in months. I told him he made me feel unwanted. I said if he wanted me to act like a wife, he should act like a husband. It was unfair, but it sounded clean. Ethan stared at me for a moment and asked if I was trying to excuse something. I said I wasn't excusing anything. I said I was explaining why he pushed me away. He said he did not push me away. He said he pulled back because I kept humiliating him. I said he was being dramatic. He asked if I could stop using that word when he described pain. I said pain was a choice when it came from jealousy. He didn't answer. We went back into the hall. Ethan took Noah toward a quieter corner with some toys. Mia followed him. I watched them, and for a second I felt something like guilt. Then I saw my mother watching me, and I felt that old need to be right. I walked toward Cassidy and Janelle. Cassidy whispered that Ethan looked like he was going to cry. She said it like it was funny. I laughed. I told her Ethan always acted wounded when he didn't get his way. Janelle said I should teach him a lesson. I said I wasn't teaching him anything. I said he was teaching himself by refusing to grow. Brent appeared again, like he could smell attention. He asked if I wanted to dance, even though there wasn't real dancing, just people swaying to the music near the speaker. I said I didn't know. He took my hand anyway, lightly, like a dare. I let him lead me 2 steps. It was enough for people to see. It was enough for Ethan to notice. I looked toward Ethan. He saw us. He did not storm over. He did not shout. He simply picked up Noah's jacket and helped him put it on. Then he helped Mia with her coat too. He did it slowly, like he was making a decision with his hands. Patricia arrived near the exit. She looked at Ethan, then at me, and her eyes went hard. She asked Ethan if he was ready to go. Ethan said yes. He told Mia it was time. Mia looked at me and hesitated like she wanted permission. I said she could go with Dad, and I said it like I was generous. Inside, I felt panic, but I hid it. As Ethan walked the kids out, Tara came to my side and said Ethan was trying to punish me. She said he was making a scene by leaving. I said he was overreacting, and I said it louder than necessary. I wanted witnesses for that too. At home later, the house felt empty even though it wasn't. Ethan had put the kids to bed without me. Their doors were closed. The hallway nightlight made a weak glow on the floor. I stood in the kitchen, angry that my own house felt like it belonged to someone else. Ethan came in and poured water. He did not ask where I had been after he left. He did not accuse me. That calm made me feel small, and I hated feeling small. I asked why he left like that. He said the kids needed to go before the night got worse. I said the night got worse because he made it worse. He said he did not want to argue anymore. He said arguing in front of the kids was over. I told him he was acting like a martyr. I said he wanted everyone to pity him. He looked at me with that switched-off light again. Then he spoke in a calm voice that felt colder than shouting. He said he would handle it properly. I laughed once, quick and sharp, like that sentence was a joke. Ethan didn't laugh. He said he meant it. He said he would not threaten, and he would not beg, and he would not perform for my friends. He said he would do it properly, the way adults did when trust was broken. He rinsed his mug and set it on the far side of the counter. Then he set my mug on the other side, farther away than before. 2 separate mugs, 2 separate spaces. He didn't slam anything. He didn't call me names. He just turned off the kitchen light and walked toward the spare room. I stood there in the dark kitchen, staring at the gap between the mugs, telling myself he was bluffing, telling myself he was trying to scare me, telling myself I still had control. But my hands were shaking, and I could not make them stop. The next Monday, I walked into my office tower like nothing happened. I wore my good coat. I practiced my calm face in the elevator mirror. I told myself Ethan was only trying to scare me. I told myself he would cool down if I stayed firm. In the lobby, people moved fast with coffee cups and badges. I saw 2 co-workers near the security desk. They nodded at me. I nodded back like I belonged there. Then a man stepped into my path. He was not angry. He was not loud. He looked like someone doing a normal job. He asked if I was Zenobia Pierce-Larkin. I said yes, and my voice came out too bright. He said he had legal documents for me and asked me to confirm my identity again. I did, because everyone was watching, and I didn't want to look guilty. He handed me an envelope. The paper felt thick and official. My fingers went cold. I opened it right there, because I thought I could control the moment. I saw Ethan's name. I saw the words about separation and temporary terms. I saw a schedule for the kids starting immediately, written like a system, not a fight. I saw a note about keeping communication in writing. My stomach dropped as if the floor tilted. I turned and Ethan was there near the entrance, not blocking me, not touching me. He looked clean and calm, like he slept well for the first time in months. He asked if I had received everything. I said this was cruel. He said he was handling it properly. I started to speak louder, but the lobby stayed quiet around us. My co-workers stared. A guard looked over. Ethan said he would only discuss the kids and logistics now. and only in writing. Then he walked out, and I realized my joke story did not matter anymore, because the building had just watched the real story land.